He can be British, but he's not English, in my opinion. Because when I see an Englishman, I see someone like some of the peers that I had growing up who are...
Is Bukayo Saka
right.
English?
No, not with Bukayo. It's name, isn't it?
Is Ian Wright English?
This debate isn't really about one caller. It's about a question that has become one of the most divisive issues in modern British politics. Who gets to define what it means to be English? As the conversation unfolds, you'll hear arguments about history, immigration, race, and national identity. But pay close attention, because the discussion takes a dramatic turn when the presenter starts asking one simple question that completely changes the direction of the debate. And that's when the real disagreement begins.
You know, got the video up, but there is a post via Restore Britain where they put out just a montage, really, online of things that Nigel Farage has said, and then he's changed his opinion on. I think it's probably going to be Islam, migration, Christianity, like the white English ethnicity sort of population as a percentage. I think he's changed his stance.
But this is the problem, Benjamin, with Rupert Lowe. He bangs on about stuff like white English ethnicity. I don't want politicians talking about people's skin colour.
Why is that a problem?
Why is that a problem?
Yeah, 100 years ago, we
because
would
race
talk about
should be
skin
irrelevant.
Colour. Well, 100 years ago, when we was 200 years ago, when we was an empire, it was important to us, and perhaps,
yeah, and we were wrong to think that. And we were wrong to think that. Race is irrelevant. Race shouldn't matter.
Are we not in a worse position now than we was 200-300 years ago?
What, and you think that's to do with race, do you?
No, but I think perhaps we should look at some of the ideas that we had back then. Well, that sounds kind of crazy.
What kind of ideas?
Talking about, I would argue that the new sort of woke, I guess, transgenderism, being politically correct, all of these sort of things that I've witnessed growing
Benjamin,
up.
you're just kind of doing culture war bingo at the moment, coming out with different buzzwords. What do you mean?
I think it's quite clear what I mean. I think I'm just tying it up in, bunches.
What ideas from 200 years ago should we bring back?
Let's talk about, maybe, I guess one clear one would be like comedy. If you watch, like, I don't know, like Only Fools and Horses episodes when they were out there with their
you're
jokes.
allowed to watch Only Fools and Horses, Benjamin. No one has banned Del Boy.
No, but you look at that in contrast with the comedy today, I would argue that it's
but Rupert Lowe is not going to revive British comedy if he's elected Prime Minister.
No, but the reason that we are censoring ourselves like that is because of the culture. And I think once we get rid of that and we go back to just being honest and we have like real discussions, then then I think these things will cure themselves.
But why do you care about people's race?
I don't, a way in which maybe it's trying to be framed. I would care in the same way that if India wanted to, I don't know, take back Pakistan, we would be like, no, that's for Pakistan. Like, let them, be their whole population, 95% or whatever. But I just want the same for the English. I just think if we look at England, let's remember that, a certain demographic is white English. And I would
Benjamin,
like to
is Rishi Sunak English?
No.
Why not?
He can be British, but he's not English, in my opinion.
This debate isn't really about one caller. It's about a question that has become one of the most divisive issues in modern British politics. Who gets to define what it means to be English? As the conversation unfolds, you'll hear arguments about history, immigration, race, and national identity. But pay close attention, because the discussion takes a dramatic turn when the presenter starts asking one simple question that completely changes the direction of the debate. And that's when the real disagreement begins.
Because when I see an Englishman, I see someone like some of the peers that I had growing up who are...
Is Bukayo Saka English?
No, it's not with Bukayo. It's name, isn't it?
Is Ian Wright English?
I don't know. I'm going to say he's not, because my friends that were growing up, they were aware that where they were from. Like if they were Jamaican,
Junior,
or they were Indian.
Sorry, Benjamin. I got a message here from Junior I want to put to you.
Okay.
He says, please can you ask your caller, how would his black or brown friends react listening to him on the radio now, if he has any? Do you have any black or brown friends?
Yes. Well, I would say I haven't talked to them in a while, especially not since like COVID. I would say everything's sort of quiet down, but you know, I think if you put the same argument to them,
and
like,
if you told them I don't think you're English purely because of the colour of your skin,
oh no, I think what I would say back to them is, listen, would you want Jamaica to become 75% populated by Jamaicans and then 25% by some other? Would you be okay as like if Jamaicans became a minority in Jamaica? And I don't think any of them would agree with that. And I think then if we had a real conversation,
Benjamin, I honestly do not care what the racial composition of this country is.
You may not, but I think some people do, and I think that's what. Why?
Because deep down we are all the same. You can be opposed to mass immigration because you're worried about the strain it'll have on public services and the numbers coming in. Entirely legitimate. You can be opposed to the small boat crossings because we believe in border security and we don't want illegal migration and we don't know who those people are.
I think
that's okay. But when you start banging on about basically ethnic nationalism, that's deeply alarming.
Look, it may be to yourself as a radio presenter, but I think
it's alarming to myself as a human being, to be honest.
No, but there are like certain subjects I would say as a radio presenter that you probably don't want to touch. And I could roll off probably vaccines, the COVID vaccine. I would say the war in Russia.
Blimey.
And I would say our inflation problem.
Benjamin,
everyone seems to have forgot monetary inflation.
Can I ask you something? And look, I appreciate this might sound deeply patronising, and I don't mean it to. But do you spend a lot of time online? Do you spend a lot of time on X?
Well, I would argue more since COVID than I probably did before. But I had a perspective.
I think you've gone down a rabbit hole. I think you've gone down a rabbit hole.
I've definitely.
I was raised in the 1970s, and it was bad then. This is overt. It's like people have been given permission to be racist, and that's what it is. As far as where Ben's coming from, and as far as Mr. Lowe, Rupert Lowe, and Nigel Farage are concerned, they're cut from the same cloth, dressed up in a suit. Back in the 1970s, we had the National Front putting leaflets through our letterbox saying, "We want our country back, go back to where you come from." That's what's happening today, and I'd like good people like you and the other listeners who won't bother calling in to know that we're right and they are wrong.
And I think what I find staggering is, when I said to Benjamin, is Rishi Sunak English, is Bukayo Saka English, is Ian Wright English? I mean, Alex, you say you're a person of colour yourself.
Yeah.
I'm guessing being in Oxford, you consider yourself English?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. I've written a book on it. I've written a book on being black and English, and I've mentioned Rishi Sunak and a whole load of other people who are as English as the ground beneath our feet. My parents got here in the 1950s, rebuilt this country. We've got people of colour keeping the NHS going, serving in the police force like I do. People who doctors and nurses who contribute to this country being marginalised, being made to feel unwelcome. And I'm so glad, again, that people like your good self are on the right side of history. This is another chapter in the book of this country. We're going to get through it. They're going to be happier chapters ahead, but we do need people like you to help be the author of happier chapters.
This is an interesting shift because the presenter stops debating the individual arguments and starts asking where those ideas might be coming from. Whether you agree with that suggestion or not, it reflects a much broader conversation taking place across Britain. Increasingly, debates about politics aren't just about what people believe, they're also about how those beliefs are formed in an age of social media, algorithms, and highly personalized online content. The next callers take the discussion in a different direction altogether, moving from one person's views to the wider question of what kind of country Britain sees itself as today. That's where this debate reaches its most powerful moments.